What is going on, everybody? My name is John Solo, and today we are talking about Pixar. As everyone on this channel knows, Pixar has made some amazing movies. Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, the list goes on. And as a huge fan of Pixar and a fan of quality films in general, I've always admired their ability to create sequels that live up to the reputation of their predecessors, with a few exceptions, of course. That being said, there are a few sequels to some of our favorite childhood movies that Pixar wasn't quite able to get off the ground. Today, we're going to talk about some of these sequels, discuss their plots, the problems they had during production, and the movies they were ultimately replaced with. Before we dive in though, I should mention that today's video was brought to you by my favorite nerdy subscription box of all time and the provider of this dope shirt, Geek Fuel. Every single month, Geek Fuel sends its members a box filled with over $50 of geeky goodness from franchises like Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics, Harry Potter, anything you could want. Right now, they're running a promotion where you can try the service out and get 25% off the total price. Just go to geekfuel.com/25offJohnSolo and sign up through that URL. For those of you interested, there's a link in the description down below. And without further ado, let's get this started. Here are 5 scrapped Pixar sequels. Number 1. Monsters, Inc. 2. Lost in Scaradise. Before the Monsters, Inc. prequel, Monsters University, was conceptualized, they were working on a sequel titled Lost in Scaradise. This movie was being created by the infamous Circle 7 studio, the studio Disney established for the sole purpose of creating sequels to Pixar movies when the two companies had a falling out. It would have followed Sully and Mike Wazowski after their adventures with Boo in the first movie. The story entailed them going back to the human world, specifically Boo's bedroom, to celebrate her birthday with her. Here they would have found out that Boo's family had moved away and someone new moved into her house. For reasons we're not quite sure about, the two wouldn't have been able to return to the monster world until they found her, and the movie would have focused on their adventures in the human world. Number 2. Up sequel. George and AJ. After the massive success of Up, Pixar wanted to make a sequel in the form of a short film that followed George and AJ, the Shady Oaks employees that witnessed Carl taking off in his house with 20,000 balloons. The movie was never finished, but you can get a gist of what the plot would have been like by watching the short film Pixar released for it. Essentially, Carl's devious balloon plan inspired old folks all around his neighborhood to also resist being put in a retirement home, and they followed his lead of using ridiculous methods to uproot their houses from their foundations. I'm not sure how well this would have turned out if it was turned into a longer film, but the shortened version is pretty hilarious. Number 3. Mater's Tall Tales. Backwards to the Forwards. There has been plenty of spin-offs surrounding Mater from Cars and the wacky adventures he gets himself into, but Backwards to the Forwards might have been pushing the envelope a little too far. As the name suggests, this was a sort of parody of Back to the Future. The story followed Lightning McQueen and Mater after they became trapped in a time portal that was opened up by a thunderstorm. As you might expect, the story didn't end up coming together as nicely as Pixar wanted, so they scrapped it in favor of some other Cars shorts. Number 4. Toy Story 2. At this point in time, it's hard to imagine the Toy Story series without characters like Jessie, Bullseye, and the infamous Stinky Pete, but the original plan for Toy Story 2 included a similar story with very different versions of these characters. Initially, the sequel was supposed to be just an hour long and released directly to video, but after some Disney executives watched some completed sequences, they wanted the story expanded. In order to do this, Pixar's artists and writers had to reassemble the movie's storyline to lengthen it for a theater release. The famous John Lasseter was also placed in charge, and he chose to restart the story process over again. Even though the story always involved Woody being stolen by a toy collector in order to finish his collection, the way he wound up in his possession was altered, as was the Woody's Roundup crew. Instead of Jessie, there would have been a character named Senorita Cactus, who was the prospector's evil sidekick. Also, Bullseye could talk. Number 5. Toy Story 3. Probably one of the most famous canceled movies of all time is the original version of Toy Story 3. In this story, there would have been a worldwide recall for Buzz Lightyear action figures. Andy's mom would have sent Buzz to Taiwan to be fixed, only for the rest of Andy's toys to find out that the company that made Buzz was simply replacing the old figures with new ones instead of repairing them. Similar to Toy Story 2, the gang would have banded together and gone on a rescue mission to save Buzz from the factory he was trapped in, alongside some other malfunctioning toys. This was another movie being created by Circle 7, so as you might expect, after Disney worked out its problems with Pixar, the story was scrapped. And that, my friends, was 5 Pixar sequels that were never seen to completion. What do you think about them? Are there any you wish were made, or are you happy with the stories stories we got. Leave your thoughts in a comment down below. Also hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe with notifications on for weekly content just like this. Also remember to check out that Geek Fuel link in the description to get a 25% discount on your membership. Thank you all so much for watching. In case you forgot, my name is John Solo, and I'll see you soon.